Good evening, exiles. So today we're going to discuss one of the key basics of preparedness, and that's water storage and purification. If you want to know more about basic preparedness, this is going to be part of a playlist, the Zero to Prepared playlist. So let's get started on water storage. So, how much water do you need to store? Well, you can't store enough water to get you by for like even a month or two. That's a tremendous amount of water. So, one of the key easy ways to store water around the house are just cheap water bottles. And we're going to talk about how much to store as we go, but we keep these water bottles. We keep two packages of these, one opened and one unopened, and we take them with us to birthday parties, camping trips, stuff like that. And they just live underneath the bench by the front door. So the open package and the unopened package, so they're easy and convenient to get out when we need them. But you need about 3 quarts of water a day just for drinking, and you need about a gallon of water or so for cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. And if you start multiplying that out by a family of 4, you start running into a lot of water. So what you need for water or for long term is something like this. This is what is it? An Alexa Pure brand. There's Berkey. There's a few other brands of water filters, and in the future, me and Sarah plan on making like a DIY water filter out of like with charcoal and sand and stuff. But what this does is it has a giant filter in here. What we like about the Alexa Pure is it's cheaper than the Berkey, and the filter it comes with stops fluoride, even though we're on well water, but stops fluoride without a separate fluoride filter. You just fill it up, water comes out here, through the filter, fills up the bottom. It's slow, but this is like the 2.5 gallon one, I think it is. It's good for a family of 4. And we can use it in the summer with the pool. In the winter, we can melt snow. There's a stream right across the street from us. We can go fill up and bring water back for this. That's not ideal for like medium to long-term disasters, but it's pretty darn good. Eventually, we will be putting in giant water storage tanks, but that's going to have to wait for future down the road when we buy the farm. We're also going to put in some rain barrels and other rain catchment systems at the house this spring. Something else that's really good that people like to do is take they're like international bulk container, IBC, something international something container. And you take the top of the cage off, they're basically 300 gallon water tanks the size of a skid. So you take the top of it, pull the skid off, wrap it in black trash bags, and put it back together. And the black trash bags keeps the light from getting in, and they get moldy. Full algae. You don't want that. And they're a great, cheap way to store water. You can get them for like $40-$50. Used ones, make sure they're food grade. We might get one of those for the chickens in the spring. We'll see how that works out. But for like day-to-day use for water, me, Sarah, and all the kids have these. These are Life Straw. Mine's 1 liter. Theirs are 700 milliliters. I dropped my 750 milliliter one. So when I replaced it, I got the 1 liter one. And the water in here looks a little cloudy, but we dehydrated some lemons, and I threw some dehydrated lemons in here to flavor the water while I was at work. But the way these things work is you can fill them up with water from a stream or a lake or anything like that. At our wedding, I actually went down before the wedding when I was helping set up and stuff. I went down to the lake and filled this up full of lake water. Freaked some of our wedding guests out that I was drinking lake water. But anyway, inside there's one of these Life Straw water filters. So this is a hollow membrane filter. Stops all bacteria and protozoan and some viruses. And then it has a carbon filter that helps the water taste better and reduces some chemicals. So you can fill this up in a mud puddle and drink water. It'll taste like mud, but it'll be clean-ish. It'll be safe to drink water. Also, since these use standard Nalgene style threads, you can take any Nalgene bottle and you can actually buy just the caps if you want to fit any Nalgene bottle, like the plastic ones or like the stainless steel one. And that brings me to the stainless steel bottles. Stainless steel bottles or single wall aluminum bottles, single wall stainless, any of those will work. See how this one's been burnt. You fill these full of water, or full of your dirty water, put it right in the fire, boil your water, take the cap out, boil the water. Now, the government says you should boil your water for 5 minutes. You don't actually have to boil your water for 5 minutes. What you have to do is heat the water from 180 degrees, or heat the water up to 180 degrees for a certain length of time, which is a little over 5 minutes. So, if you heat, by the time your water gets to 180 degrees, that will start killing the bacteria. By the time it gets up to that temperature, or gets from 180 degrees to boiling, back down to 180, you've boiled the water or the water's been heated for long enough. The reason they tell you to boil the water for 5 minutes is because they want to make sure stupid people that don't know the difference between a rolling full boil and simmering don't just get their water up to simmering and shut it off and don't actually kill the bacteria in the water. That's why they tell those people to boil the water for 5 minutes, is to make sure the water's fully pasteurized and has killed all the bacteria and stuff in it. Another way we store water is when we drink these things, these tea bottles. You can also use like apple juice bottles. You don't want to use milk jugs because not only can they break easier, but they have the milk protein in them, and that's gross. It'll help grow bacteria if there is any in the water. And you can use 2-liter pop bottles, whatever you got laying around. You can. Some people put a drop or two of bleach in here. You can. You don't have to, especially if you're on city water that already has chlorine in it. And I leave a little bit of space. This one's a little fuller. Usually I only fill them up to about here. And that way they can be stored outside and they can freeze. And that's a cheap way of storing some water for short to medium term emergencies, like you're on a well and there's a power outage, boil water advisory, stuff like that. That's your cheapest and easiest option. This guy eats a little dirty because these usually live outside. I got 2 of these. We're going to get more. And see these little like pin things here? It's got some of the holes on the bottom. These stack up like Legos, so you can turn them and build like a tower out of them. These are the Aqua Bricks. There's another brand. I prefer these because the other brand uses a wire handle that looks kind of flimsy, and the spout is in the middle, so you can't pour everything out of it. The other brand does hold more water. This one holds 3 gallons. The other one holds 3.5 gallons. But if you can't get it all out, what's the difference? You just have to lug around the extra half gallon without being able to drink it. And I usually fill this up to about 2.5 gallons, so it can sit outside and there's room for it to freeze without busting it. So how much water do you need to drink on a daily basis when you're out doing things? I said earlier it was about 3 quarts of water a day. The way you come up with the number for you is I told you in my last one of these videos that we're going to be doing a little math. Hold on, this is easy math. You take your body weight, let's say it's 200 pounds. You divide it by 2, so that you're down to 100 pounds. Now you get rid of the pounds, ignore the pounds. Just take 100 and then put ounces on the end. So you need to drink 100 ounces of water a day. Well, one of these is 32. So if you drink 3 of these a day, 3 quarts, you're what? That's 96. This is rough math. It's not perfect. That'll get you to your 3 of these a day, 3 quarts a day, or liters. A quart and a liter is basically the same thing. I'd show you on this, but I've rubbed off all the measurement markings using it. But yeah, on a bottle like this, like the 1 liter mark might be here, and the 1 quart mark be down here, or vice versa. It's only a couple ounces difference, so quart and ounces don't matter, or quart and liters don't matter. As a general rule of thumb, though, when you're outside working or doing anything working, when you go to the bathroom, if it's yellow and not clear, you need to drink more water. We're probably going to do some medical basic first aid videos later on down the road. We'll discuss dehydration in those. But this is basically, I want you to know how much water you should expect to be drinking. So you have these water bottles, and you can buy these cups. Walmart sells them, and there's a couple other places that sell the different ones. And so the cup fits in here. So if you're using this plastic cup, you have something to boil water in. You can also, if you're using the metal cup, you can boil water in here and dump it in here to cool off. Boil more water in here, dump it in. That way you can drink it sooner, and you can walk around carrying this, and 2 containers is better than 1. Something I haven't done to these yet, so I'm going to drill some holes in there. I'll make a short about that. And this fish mouth spreader will go inside there and hook in those holes so you can hang it over the fire or reach in and pull this thing out of the fire. I do have one of the Pathfinder bottles that already came with the holes. That thing's really handy on campouts. You can also keep a little mess tin in a backpack, in your bug out bag or whatever backpack, to cook in and boil water in here. Problem is you can't transport water in here very well because it'll leak. But it's a good option if you have, if it works out well for you for your bug out system or your camping system, whatever. If you have a mess tin, you can boil water in there too. Another option a lot of people use, and I use these in the cars, are these Smart brand water bottles. There's another company that makes water bottles. They're just same thing as these store-bought disposable bottled water, but these are a lot tougher. And backpackers like these because they're lighter than these. And it gives you more options. These will also fit in here. And what's nice about these is either the Sawyer or the LifeStraw little filters like these will actually screw onto these threads. So you can take this with you, use the water that's in it, fill it back up with dirty water, and put the filter on it and drink out of it. I want one other thing I want to talk to you. These filters, you can use them like I said, on the bottom of the water. Or, hold on a second, let me grab it out. You can use them with the water bags that come with them. So you unscrew this thread. This is the same as any water bottle, Mountain Dew bottle, whatever. And you can go like this. Some of them have threads on this end, so you can thread this on there, hang it up, and filter the water like that. What I do is, if you notice, it has a little barb fitting there and a little barb fitting there. I use this in line with my water bladder. And right now, I have attached the back of my plate carrier. This, the water bladder's not in it. It's hanging up that way. It doesn't get mildewy and gross. But the 1 liter water bladder sits in here. I do have a 3 liter bag. I'm just not sure where it's at the time. That is going to replace this 1 liter one. So that's pretty much everything on water storage. Give all the different options that are available. Oh, and because water bladders tend to fail sometimes, and so critical things, instead of just relying on just the water bladder, I also take one of these bags and throw it in the bottom of the water bladder pouch. That way, if the water bottle does spring a leak, I can take whatever I set the filter down. I can take the filter, pull the line off of each side of the filter, and screw it on here. And the reason I put the filter in line is that way you can stop at a creek or whatever, fill up your water bladder, and then drink right out of the tube, and it'll filter the water as you go. Something else that I don't use very much anymore is iodine tablets and chlorine tablets and those things. They're still viable. They still work well. Just make sure you're not allergic to iodine before you use them. But filters are so much better and so much cheaper nowadays. I just go with that. They also make UV lights that you stick in the water and you stir it, and the UV light kills the bacteria. Well, it destroys the DNA in the bacteria. The bacteria is still alive, but it can't reproduce. So if you drink it, there won't be enough bacteria in the bottle to actually hurt you. But those, the batteries can go dead. They can break easy. So I usually use filters, but I do keep an emergency kit. I just forgot to grab it before I did this video. I do keep iodine handy because it can be used both as first aid and to treat water in case for some reason I break the filters or run out of filters. Boiling is a great option. It's probably the best option for actually killing any of the little guys in here you don't want to be drinking. But the problem with boiling is you have to build a fire, you have to sit there, you have to babysit it while it's boiling, you have to wait for it to cool off, and that takes a significant amount of time. If you're doing it at a static camp where you're not going to be moving around a lot, it's great. It's great as a third backup option, but it's not ideal anymore. And the house, this is ideal. We actually take all of our water, we run it through a cheap, like Brita style filter. I don't know what brand it is. That's attached to the faucet before we dump it in here, so that can take out most of the iron and other stuff out of the well water, so it doesn't clog the filters in here. And then it comes out here. It tastes great, nice clean water. So I hope that helps you. I hope if you have any questions on water storage or anything like that, put it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer your questions. So this is basically it for water storage, how to store water, and the math to see how much water you need. And really, like, that 3 liters of water a day, that's a minimum. If you're doing work, you might need more. Also, 2 gallons of water for cooking, cleaning, drinking, everything like that, that's a minimum. The more water you can store, the better. And you can't store enough water, really, to last you very long. That's when you start getting into the more bulk storage and bulk filtering systems. We do have one backup filter for this. We plan on buying a few more backup filters for it. We also have spare filters for these bottles, spare other filters. Make sure your filters don't freeze though. And even if the water down here isn't frozen, the water in the top of the filter might freeze. Make sure to keep your filters warm on an inside jacket pocket or something like that in the winter. Tuck them in your sleeping bag with you in the winter to make sure that filter doesn't freeze. Those filters are so thin and tiny on the inside that you can get microscopic cracks in there that will let bacteria through, and you don't want that. So that's all I got. I hope it helps. Like I said, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'd be glad to help you out and answer any questions you have. And thanks for watching. And remember, we, his people, will start rebuilding.